Hi everyone, it's Shar and welcome back to my channel. Okay, excuse me if my voice sounds a little bit off. I actually got super sick recently. Not anything serious, just your regular run-of-the-mill cold. So I am working through that. But for some reason, I do have a lot of energy today, which is really great. Tells me it's going to be a short-lived cold. So originally this was going to be, you see the farmhouse here in this picture, so you know what the inspiration is. So you know those challenges that have been going around where it's like, I let a generator decide my build, like that random build generator. So this was this, and the generator told me build a modern farmhouse that had a bunch of requirements, blah blah blah, etc. I was going to do that, but then I realized, it would be more fun for me if we built another house for one of my not so berry kids. So right now we are moving on to our yellow generation. You would have seen some episodes recently, and this house is going to belong to our gray generation. So we're actually quite ahead of the game. But usually when I play not so berry, I already have ideas, at least one or two generations out for what I want that generation's storyline to be. Because while not so berry is really fun, it is a legacy style challenge. And I think the fun for me is just creating that storyline and having my Sims have like meaningful lives. So yes, technically this is a spoiler if you haven't watched Not So Berry. So yes, technically Aubrey did work until the day she died, and she quite literally died at work. But she had a storyline, and that's why it took us so long to complete her Not So Berry aspirations, as well as the fact that we played her generation a little bit strangely. But anyway, I digress. So I just wanted to build a modern farmhouse. That is what I wanted to do. I love this inspiration for the farmhouse, and I was trying to recreate this. And in fact, I actually challenged myself to make this farmhouse a I believe base game and eco living only. I think I might have, no, not base game eco living, excuse me, hello. Base game only, because I don't do base game only houses. So I wanted to see if I could accomplish this modern farmhouse look with just a base game. And the answer is yes, I can. And in the interior, I will admit to you way ahead right now that after I finish recording, because I was actually recording this on the day that I start work a little bit later. So by the time I got to like finishing the touches on the house, I actually had to go back to work. And excuse the fact that you're going to see me switching back and forth between the reference picture and the farmhouse. I'm not trying to replicate it 100% exactly, but I am trying to get that general sense in the build. And this is in Montgomery, I think I mentioned, because I'm not going to spoil the great generation, but there's a reason they're in Montgomery. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to build, but I was running really short on time. So by the time I did get to the end of this, I was like, okay, this is what it is. The house is base game. It's going to be relatively empty. Not really, but just not as cluttered as I would normally make my homes. And that's how that ended up working out. But I'm actually really happy with how the house turned out. And what I was saying is that after I finished this and I finished my work, I came back to this house and I actually started to add in some not base game farmhouse stuff to it. And that's just for my gameplay. So the version that you see in this video is the base game version, but then afterwards and the screenshots, you'll definitely see things that are not the base game. That's why I'm not calling this house a base game build, although in the video portion, it is in fact a base game build, and all of the non-base game items I add are really just clutter and decorative, and they're not going to affect you too much outside of the yard. If you don't have seasons, you're going to have a hard time doing the farming. I put these lights down. I thought I was doing something. Afterwards, I was like, you're not doing something. So I deleted it. And the floor plan for this house was super interesting. But what was good is that in the reference picture you could actually see like the general layout of the house. I do some strange things which you'll see in a moment, but I overall just really like how this house turned out, and I'll be excited to play in it. Maybe we'll see how I feel when Gray Gen actually comes around to play in it when the Gray generation comes around. And I actually went back and forth while I was making this house, because I was like, is this the Gray Gen house? Is this the Yellow Gen house? It's definitely our Gray Gen house, and I realized that afterwards, because Clover does not live in Montgomery. There's no reason she would live in Montgomery. So that's how that works out. So how are you all doing? I was just looking through my channel and I realized I've posted like 112 videos, and I've never had a YouTube channel for this long that I've actually really enjoyed. I mentioned this in a lot of my videos, but I started this channel just because I really love The Sims, and I know that there's a community that also loves The Sims, and I just wanted us to share our mutual love for The Sims together. I am definitely a storyteller in The Sims. I'm not a builder, despite what this video might lead you to believe. I am a storyteller, and sometimes when I play The Sims, I just like to share like the storylines that I create. So that is really fun for me. And doing it. So yeah, that's why I started this channel, and I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I've posted over 100 videos on this channel. That's so wild, and it's just really fun. Like, there are definitely some things that give me anxiety, but those are things that I can correct on my own end, so that's really great. And I don't know, like I said, I got sick on Friday. It was such a chill time. Do you know what my weird obsession has been? It has been so strange. Okay, so my whole life have never wanted kids. Did not interest me, no way. If I was a sim and I had to have the traits, my traits would include like non-committal, because I am the kind of person that's like, I just want to do what I want to do. Like, I want to live my own life on my own terms in my own time. And parenthood always seemed to conflict with that. But I will be 27 years old today. Not that today, hello, 27 years old this year. Not that that has anything to do with my desire. But I don't know, I got very curious about like newborn life and babies. And for reference, my older sister and my younger sister both had kids very young. So I have been around children and pregnant women since I was 9 years old. So I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of what it can look like, because the kids actually lived at home with us. So I got to hear all the newborn phases and what that looks like, and do a lot of babysitting and take care of the babies. And I feel like I have a good sense of like what that looks like, but I was just curious about like, well, what does it mean to actually be a mother and to have a newborn baby? And do you actually not sleep? And how long does your baby sleep? And how do you take care of a newborn? And what do you do if the newborn is crying? And what is postnatal care? And postpartum care, excuse me. And what do you bring to the hospital? And how do you organize your baby's clothes? And how do you know what's actually good? And what do newborns need? And what don't they need? And I don't know why I'm doing all this research, because your girl is not in a relationship and have no intention to be pregnant at all in anytime in the near future, but I wanted to know. And my video feed now on YouTube is just full of like pregnancy videos and babies, and I don't know, I'm really enjoying like learning more about motherhood and parenthood. But I feel like a lot of the videos focus on like, yeah, it's hard, but I love my baby anyway. Like, that's awesome. I love that you love your baby. I want to hear about the hard parts, because I feel like if you are actually someone who's pregnant and you're about to have a baby and you're nervous, you want to hear the good, definitely. You don't want anyone to scare you. But maybe you genuinely have no idea what to expect, and you're wondering, well, how hard is it? How much am I going to sleep? How much am I not going to sleep? And how do you deal with the exhaustion and the tiredness? And what do you do if your baby won't stop crying? So that's the kind of video I am looking for. But yeah, anyway, you can see that I make this bedroom upstairs the master bedroom, because obviously it has the massive bathroom. And in the back, there's actually a farm. This farmhouse is actually a farmhouse. There is a farm that will be in the side yard. So my idea was that the parents who live in here, one of them is obviously our grade gen. She has very unique interests. And the other is her husband. I would say her husband's a farmer, stay-at-home dad type. Being a stay-at-home dad and running a farm would be really hard. But you get the point. So they have like this very cottage style room, because even though the house is very modern, he wanted that little bit of cozy comforts for himself. And then we have the room for the girlies. I imagine this family has 2 girls, a toddler boy, and then an older girl that sleeps downstairs. So that was her own choice. She could have slept with the other girls upstairs in this room. They had that space for her. But she said, I'm not sharing a room with my 2 little sisters. So she took what was actually the office space and turned it into her bedroom, which is why it's super small. But no, that was her choice. There is no like weird backstory. She just didn't want to share a room with her little sisters, and that's why she went ahead and she took that room. So yeah, this room, I don't know, decorating the kids' room was not as fun. It was pretty strange, but I actually like how the toddler's room does turn out. I don't know if that's how the actual kids layout is going to work. I have no idea how many kids Grey Gen will actually have, and the genders or the sex of those kids at all. So this is just my idea for the family right now who lives in here. And I don't know, I feel like I'm running out of things to say. I had such terrible tooth pain last night, like literally so bad. I could just feel it aching throughout the night, and that's 100% kind of my fault because, well, it's a long backstory. A few years ago, I had to have a root canal. And in that root canal, they put a wooden peg in my tooth and actually a crown that was much too big for my mouth. So over time, that tooth got reinfected, and I had new insurance, so I went to a new dentist, and they actually had to do a retreat where they inserted a metal peg into my tooth, and I had to get a new crown. But insurance in the US is something special, and dental insurance for a retreat was not actually going to cover the crown, and the crown would have cost me anywhere from $400 to $1,000, and the tooth was still causing me pain, so there was no guarantee that that would actually work. The solution would be to pull the tooth out and to get like a fake tooth essentially put into its spot. But that would also cost me like $1,000. At the time, your girl could not afford that. Thankfully, my financial situation is very different now, and I have different insurance once again, and I should be able to afford anything that I need. Yes, it's going to be a hit to my wallet, but adult life, sometimes you have unexpected medical expenses. Like I needed to get a new pair of glasses, and even with really good vision insurance, my glasses still cost me $150. That's for the eye exam and everything. With dental insurance, yes, I have really good dental insurance, but it's still going to cost me money to get this issue repaired. And it has essentially been 6 years in the making. So thankfully, I was able to make a dentist appointment this morning with an awesome doctor who I will see on Wednesday morning and hopefully begin the process of getting this situation resolved, because I have literally been living with a toothache for the past 6 years. I don't know what it's like for your teeth not to hurt. So yeah, that's just kind of what's going on in my life. I also wanted to schedule an appointment with a gynecologist, but no gynecologist in New York City is open on the weekends. I don't know what the hell that's about, but none of them are open, and they all have hours that it's like 9 to 2 or 9 to 3:30, and only on Monday and Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm like, okay. Thankfully, like my work schedule is fairly flexible. I have complete control over my calendar, and I do work remotely, so I don't have to worry about can I actually make time to go see this doctor. Do I take a day off? That is not a thing for me, which I understand is a privilege, and I feel very, very grateful for. So I'm going to have to rearrange that and try to get an appointment in for Monday, because that's not something I've ever done. But ladies, I'm going to encourage you to do that. I'm 27 years old. There's no reason why this shouldn't be something that's brand new to me. So I'm going to try to schedule that in. The lines on this form just make me laugh so much because they're so crooked, but you can see how much I'm rushing at this point in the clip, because I literally have a meeting in like 5 minutes after I'm recording this video. Yeah, I still spend time trying to put a rug down. I do this upper like overhead view to get a sense of the space and if it's actually cluttered enough. So I ended up adding this island. There's a little dollhouse. There's rugs kind of everywhere. I couldn't get a hallway rug. This hallway rug doesn't really stay. I feel like it's closing the space too much. I do end up deciding not to put anything on there. And then like I mentioned, I come back later on to do up the backyard. But this portion of the video, the house as you see it, is completely base game, and we're just finishing up the kids' room. So overall, this home is pretty large. Like, it has a lot of space for a family. It's definitely a family home. I think it has that sense. And I don't like a lot of the base game furniture, but girl, we have done it.